A moment of silence held this morning here outside of the Richmond Police Department, marking 1 year since Officer Daniel Ellis was shot while investigating a robbery.
She didn't make it to her arraignment because she's in the hospital. A Lexington woman is charged with 2 deaths after police say she was involved in a DUI crash. The latest on the crash that's impacted lives in 2 of Kentucky's largest cities coming up.
And wildfires continue to burn in several eastern Kentucky counties.
This is WKYT News at 5.
A year ago today, Richmond police officer Daniel Ellis was shot while investigating a robbery. He died 2 days later.
This morning at 10:36, the time Officer Ellis was shot, Richmond police held a moment of silence to honor him. WKYT's Hillary Thornton was there and has our top story at 5.
1 year has passed since Officer Daniel Ellis responded to this convenience store. While it is 365 days later, signs of what that investigation led to are still seen.
I mean, of course, it's a day that we'll never forget. So, it's tough to put into words about what it means.
Officer Ellis following a lead on that robbery when he was shot. A tone over officers' radios this morning for a moment of silence, marking the time 1 year ago. A call came into dispatch that an officer had been shot. Officer Ellis died from his injuries 2 days later.
The past year has been even more motivating to go to work. Seeing the community support, seeing the community come together gives us that I guess the knowledge and to know that the community supports us, and it really makes every day going to work that much more special just to carry on the work that he was doing.
Dozens remembering that sacrifice gathering around the fallen officer's cruiser. Ellis's 4-year-old son Luke in that crowd.
He knows that it sat in front of our house. We would wait and look out the window and wait for Daddy to come home. What's going on in his mind, I'm not sure. I know for me, I just wish it would come back home. That's what I wish.
That heartbreak felt throughout this community, their support meaning the world to the Ellis family and his brothers and sisters in uniform.
We love Daniel and his family. We don't ever want to forget him.
In Richmond, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
This Sunday, Madison County first responders will play their annual Turkey Bowl. Officer Ellis will be honored during that football game, which starts at 4 at Madison Central High School.
The Lexington woman accused of driving drunk and killing 2 pedestrians was supposed to face a judge today, but she wasn't there. WKYT's Caitlin Sentner tells us why and what new information we found out today.
A woman charged with 2 counts of manslaughter after a crash that killed a Louisville Metro detective and a UK employee didn't show face today in court. Her lawyer talked on her behalf because she's back in the hospital after being booked into jail. Jerry Wright is representing the 26-year-old after her second DUI charge in less than 5 years. After court today, she's got a suspended license because this charge follows a 2014 DUI conviction. According to an arrest citation, Whitlow's car went up on the sidewalk on South Upper near Boulevard by UK's campus when it struck 2 pedestrians. The crash killed Louisville Metro detective Jason Schweitzer and University of Kentucky employee Timothy Moore. Whitlow told officers she drank multiple vodka and cranberry drinks. The 26-year-old has been in the hospital since the Saturday crash. She was booked into jail Thursday, and then we're told a short time later she was taken back to the hospital.
I'm going to waive her formal arraignment for today and ask the court to go ahead and place it on a preliminary hearing docket.
Okay, we'll go to December 19th.
Whitlow's attorney didn't want to talk today, and we stopped by her parents' home, but no one answered the door. In Lexington, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
It is not clear at this point why Whitlow is back in the hospital.
A state of emergency remains in effect as multiple wildfires continue to burn in southern and eastern Kentucky. Overnight, rain made a small dent, but new fires continue to spark up. On the fire watch, WKYT's Jim Caldwell flying over Pike County.
Forest fires were still active in some areas across parts of southeastern Kentucky as we took flight today again aboard Sky First and moved toward the mountains of southeastern Kentucky. We did encounter, of course, some smoke once we got into Pike County. Now, what happened between yesterday and today was the fact that we had a frontal boundary growth through. It brought rain to the area, and it also changed the wind direction, so it started driving the smoke out of those areas. So we were seeing smoke in Powell County yesterday. We had to get all the way into Pike County before we started seeing it out there today. So the wind direction and the weather changing that. Of course, throw in the efforts of the firefighters that are working on the ground, and we had those showers last night, and the folks in the air aboard those Black Hawk helicopters and the Lakota dropping up to 600 gallons of water at a time over certain flamed areas or certain fire areas. They were able to put those flames out. So the situation looked a whole lot better, especially in and around the Shelby Valley High School, where they called off school yesterday. Students were back to normal there, and it was also around the Parkview Nursing Home as well yesterday, but today a much better situation. We did encounter another fire along the way. That one was in and around the Beattyville area, a little thicker smoke. This is up on top of a ridge that we were tracking at that point. So we did see some in between here and there. And with the overall pattern getting back to the dry side again, it's certainly something we have to be concerned about as we move forward. Here in Lexington, I'm WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Jim, thank you. One of the largest fires still burning is in Harlan County. National Guard helicopters helped fight a fire in the Cumberland area today. Thousands of acres across eastern Kentucky have been burning this week due to the dry conditions in the region. Much of eastern Kentucky is in a moderate drought. That's according to the U.S. Drought Monitor.
Well, it doesn't look like firefighters will be getting any help from Mother Nature in the coming days. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is tracking the dry temperatures for us.
Yeah, we're going to continue to hang on to the dry weather over the next several days. Not only this weekend, but I think, Amber, that's going to carry us right on through the first half at least of next week. So nothing good in terms of the forest fire situation is going to be coming out over the next several days. If anything, it's just going to continue to get drier. Yesterday did a little help putting down a quarter to nearly a half inch in a few local spots southeastern Kentucky, but boy, we need that on a widespread scale. Not in the cards right now. What is in the cards? Pleasant temperatures, upper 50s, low 60s out there this afternoon into much of the area, yet it's 52 into Covington. Low clouds, fog up there, keeping the thermometer on the cool side. Your Defender Radar Network showing a little cloud cover trying to creep in from north to south. High school football action tonight. Bring a jacket, 55-ish at kickoff, and a quick drop into the upper 40s by the time the fourth quarter rolls around. We look ahead. A frosty night is ahead of us into much of central and eastern Kentucky. That will be outside the areas that get in on some fog. Weekend looks great, and the bad part about that forecast for the forest fire situation is not a lot of change shows up. Now, obviously, outside of that, that means some pleasant weather for much of the region. But again, guys, we need some rain. We'll see if we can find it in the 7-day forecast in a few.
A former Northern Kentucky teacher has been arrested for having an inappropriate relationship with a student. Our county-by-county coverage at 5 begins in Boone County. Police say that 27-year-old Kendra Caldwell of Cincinnati was arrested for having an inappropriate relationship with a 14-year-old girl. They say the relationship began while Caldwell was a teacher at Boone County Middle School last year when this girl was a student there. Caldwell was charged with first-degree sexual abuse. Police say that one of 2 inmates who escaped from an eastern Kentucky jail surrendered to police today. Investigators say that Melvin Garland and Justin Arnett climbed through the ceiling of their cell in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center and managed to get to the roof to escape on Tuesday. Garland surrendered today and was taken to the Clay County Detention Center. Police are still looking for Arnett. He's 5'7", weighing about 145 pounds. He has blonde hair and blue eyes. Anyone with information about his whereabouts is asked to call the police.
One more exhibition match for the Wildcats before the regular season starts next week. Coach Cal says he is still making up his mind on starters. WKYT's Rob Bromley joins us now with our UK coverage.
One final warm-up for John Calipari and his team. Second and final exhibition comes up against Asbury Sunday night. Now, Calipari did not start 3 guards in the exhibition opener against Clarion. He said today he's not sure what he'll do against Asbury.
We're still trying to figure out combinations. I'll do the same thing I did last game, play a lot of combinations. Don't know if I'll start 3 guards. I might start 3 guards this time and and then figure out some sort of rotation of how we want to do this, and, you know, have time to go back. And like I said, I've been real specific. This guy moved behind this guy, and I've told them, and you move behind this guy. And then the practice even got more competitive.
Coming up in sports in the next half hour, we'll hear from Brad Calipari, who knocked down a couple of big shots in the first exhibition game. They're still talking about it. Tip-off Sunday for Asbury is 7 o'clock.
Rob, thank you. The Wildcats open the season 1 week from tonight in Rupp Arena against Stephen F. Austin.
The FBI looking into a possible al-Qaeda terrorist attack against the U.S. the day before Election Day. That story's coming up in 10 minutes.
And later in Better Living, we'll show you a high-tech cookie oven.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Well, here we are. We've made it to the weekend. Happy Friday, by the way. It's after 5 o'clock. You know what we do around here. That officially kicks off the weekend at 5 o'clock, and we're dealing with absolutely beautiful skies out there as we look at our WKYT weather garden there in the foreground. The background with some high clouds in the northern parts of the area, but this is one of those evenings to where it feels okay right now, but as soon as that sun sets, with dry air in place, those temperatures drop very quickly. So we're going to go from low 50s around 7 o'clock, 50 to 55, depending on where you are, quickly into the mid 40s by the time 11 o'clock rolls around this evening. So if you're heading out to a high school football game, you've got a night out on the town, you're heading out around 7, take the jackets. Maybe you're a late night owl, you're heading out around 11. Yeah, really take the jacket then. Stay safe, whatever you're doing, as temperatures drop overnight into the 30s. High pressure right on top of the Ohio Valley. Seasonal for a change across not only Kentucky, but most of the region, the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, and the Great Lakes. If anything, it's still just technically a little above, and we may go back to a little above as we go into later this weekend and early next week. Defender Radar Network started out the day with some low clouds and fog. The low clouds and fog still hanging tough here in the northern parts of Kentucky. 24-hour planner. Early tomorrow, you got a little fog that will be with us. If you have fog outside your house, you know, you live near a lake, a pond, or a river, you're going to have more fog than people out in the open countryside, and that temperature without fog can hit 35 frosty degrees. With fog, upper 30s to low 40s. Everybody with some afternoon sunshine and temperatures into the 60s. Awesome afternoon tomorrow. Awesome afternoon on Sunday. 3-day forecast on Monday says we don't change it up yet, with more of the same and plenty of sunshine into the afternoon. Starts you out 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. 30s around with some fog that will be slow to burn away in a few spots by noontime. Then all of a sudden you get into the afternoon, sun will be around. That's likely a little cool for temperatures. Most areas tomorrow 60 to 65 degrees. We go into Sunday. How about some high 30s to low 40s to start? Mid and upper 60s will come your way on Sunday, and I could show this hour-by-hour forecast into Monday and Election Day, and it wouldn't change very much at all. 7-day forecast says forget about changing it up for at least the next 4 or 5 days. That rain chance with an upper level low sometime late next week is slow arriving as of right now. So each day I keep kind of pushing that back a day or so. That isn't necessarily a good thing, guys, because we need the rain. Best chance won't come until the end of next week into the following weekend as of now.
That doesn't sound good.
It doesn't. It's a pattern that has been awfully dry, and it continues to be dry over the next several days.
All right, know you'll watch it.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris.
Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump stick to the states and themes they believe will make them the next president of the United States with 4 days remaining in the campaign. I'm Craig Boswell at the White House. That's coming up.
The FBI and New York City Police Department investigating the credibility of a possible al-Qaeda terror attack against the U.S. on the eve of Election Day. So far, investigators are saying the information lacks specifics, but they are not taking any chances. New York, Texas, and Virginia have been mentioned as potential targets. New York City's mayor says the city will be on high alert and security will be beefed up beginning on Sunday for the upcoming marathon this weekend all the way through Election Day. The presidential race could come down to which candidate can get their base to the polls in huge numbers next Tuesday.
Greg Boswell has our campaign 2016 coverage.
Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are making their final pitch for votes in the states that will likely decide the outcome of the presidential election. In Pennsylvania, Clinton argued Trump's temperament disqualifies him for the job.
He has a long history of insulting people. It did not just start in the campaign.
Both candidates are also relying on their strongest attacks. Trump brought up the FBI's investigation into Clinton's emails during a Get Out the Vote rally in New Hampshire.
How can Hillary manage this country when she can't even manage her emails?
Trump needs a strong Republican turnout in rural areas to counteract Democratic strongholds in urban communities.
Donald Trump wants to try and turn out what he's been calling his silent majority. Hillary Clinton needs to turn out her base, and that base is African Americans.
President Obama fired up voters in North Carolina, where polls show Clinton has a narrow lead.
What I'm asking you to do is just make sure that everybody you know is going out to vote.
Both candidates are hoping for a strong ground game in the home stretch, but there are signs of voter fatigue. 82% say they feel disgusted by the presidential campaign. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
CBS News has learned emails found on a laptop shared between Clinton and aide Huma Abedin and her estranged husband, Anthony Weiner, were not duplicates of emails found on Clinton's server when she was Secretary of State.
A former Cincinnati police officer on trial for the fatal shooting of an unarmed black man was wearing a Confederate flag shirt under his uniform. And you can see the black T-shirt says Great Smoky Mountains 1934 with a Confederate flag in the center. Former University of Cincinnati officer Ray Tenzing is accused of the July 2015 death of Sam DuBose. Prosecutors say Tenzing pulled DuBose over in what should have been a minor traffic stop. Tenzing fatally shot DuBose after a tussle captured on the officer's body camera. Children at a Nicholasville daycare center showed their appreciation to first responders today. Students at Heartland Academy invited first responders to the center just off of Wilmore Road for a program put on by the students.
They are going to grow up and be firefighters and EMTs and police officers. We're here to teach them they can be anything they want to be, because they're going to be leaders one day, and we need to give them the guidance.
The center also raffled off several items to benefit Nicholasville's fire department's toy drive and the Shop with a Cop program. Coming up here at 5:30, we continue our coverage of those wildfires burning across the state. A new fire started in Rockcastle County, and it's already burning more than 10 acres.
Why researchers say they found new ways pregnant women can impact their baby's birth weight. That's next in Better Living. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. A simple urine test may help pregnant women have a positive influence on their baby's birth weight. New research shows some seemingly simple lifestyle changes that could make a big difference. Riley Carlson reports from London.
Elizabeth Donnelly is about to become a mother for the first time. Now 8 months along, she's starting to think more about her son's arrival, including how much he'll weigh.
We have talked about it kind of generally, I guess, with our doctors about what is normal, what we could expect.
New research at Imperial College London may take away some of the uncertainty.
The aim of the study was to look for metabolites in the urine of pregnant women and to see if these could predict birth weight.
In the largest study of its kind, researchers looked at urine samples and the lifestyles of 800 pregnant women.
The samples revealed several birth weight indicators that women can control, including their vitamin D levels, exercise, and diet. Researchers say eating protein-packed foods rich in vital nutrients called branched-chain amino acids made a big difference in the third trimester when babies grow the most. The study found a 50% increase in those BCAAs could mean a weight gain of as much as 2.5%.
If we can find ways to intervene and modify the level of these metabolites, then we would be able to help ensure a healthy birth weight.
Low and abnormal birth weights have been linked to chronic diseases like obesity and type 2 diabetes. Doctors hope this test could be another tool for new moms to give their babies a healthy start. Riley Carlson for CBS News, London.
Foods rich in those branched chain amino acids include chicken, fish, eggs, beans, lentils, and soy protein. Women may have a lower risk of heart disease after weight loss surgery than men. Researchers included nearly 2,000 patients who were at risk for heart disease, and they were assessed in the decade before their surgery and 1 year after bariatric surgery was done. While all had a significant reduction in their heart disease risk, women reduced their risk by a greater percentage than men. The results suggest men and women may respond differently to bariatric surgery, with women having a greater cardiac benefit than men. Now about this, cookie making is getting high tech. Side Chef launched a Kickstarter campaign for a Wi-Fi connected cookie oven. The Chip Smart cookie oven is designed to bake just enough cookies for one person. You take a cookie dough pod, use a smartphone app to scan a barcode on the package, and it will program the oven with the exact cooking time. How about that? Now here's what's coming up for you at 5:30.